Raw review for the December 16th episode of Raw. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers. Talk about some wrestling, huh?
Yeah, Boston, Massachusetts. We get the, live episode. They're recording another episode right now as we do this.
Yep.
So I thought to myself, man, that means we're going to get a banger. Thank you to you guys who stopped in the Twitch watch along because that made this a little bit more bearable.
Yep. Yeah.
This is going to flat out come out and say it.
This is a little bit of a rough one, but we're going to get right into it. We had CM Punk starting the show, and I was like, what this guy going to say? Well, he had to say a lot, and he kind of bounced around the room a little bit. I took a lot of notes, so bear with me here. He said, some people get mad when you chant my name, and he was alluding to Mr. Seth Rollins. He goes, and I'm in a bad mood, because I told Seth that I'm done with him, but I found myself thinking about Seth more and more lately, and now Seth is right. This thing between us is not over, and it's going to lead to us locking up. At some point during this promo, his dumb music is probably going to hit, and he's going to come out. So if you're going to interrupt me, then bring the Elton John glasses and all down to the ring. He kind of made fun of his Elton John glasses and stuff. I was like, okay. But then he kept going, because I thought right then and there that meant the music was going to hit. But then he kept going, and he said, Seth told everybody I ghosted him, and that is true. But that is in the past. And if you want to call me the bad guy, sure, I'll be the bad guy. He goes, Seth Rollins is CM Punk's biggest failure. So come out here and get another lesson from me for free. And just to warn you, the last time that someone wanted to test me, it was Drew. And do you think you're tougher than Drew? Everybody here knows that that is not true. There's not enough staples that are going to be able to put you back together after I'm through with you. And when that happens, Seth Rollins starts talking. And he's like, where the hell is this man at? And Seth Rollins was coming out of the crowd, like exactly where Jey Uso makes his entrances. And he starts chanting CM Punk. CM Punk. He goes, life is all about perspective, so I thought I would see if I could see you a little bit differently. See if I stay up here with the crowd, with all your fans and everything. But even from here, you're an asshole. And CM Punk goes, you know what? This actually makes a lot of sense. You belong up there. You're the biggest CM Punk ever. You might as well be in the crowd with the rest of them.
Yeah, and biggest fan ever. I was like, ooh, that's good.
That was a good line.
That's real good.
And Seth gets pissed at this point. He's slowly making his way down, basically. And he goes, you abandoned this place. I made this place strong. You should be embarrassed because I have more main events than you ever will. And that was enough to crack his back, and CM Punk gets out of the ring. He sprints over, he jumps over the barricade. They start fighting in the outside. Of course, you get security running out there, all the normal security guards that you normally see, and they've spilled back over the barricade, and they're fighting, and the security's trying to get in the way of them. Eventually, they end up in the ring, and they're fighting, and security's trying to pull them apart one more time, and eventually security pulls them apart to the point where they're like, CM Punk is in the crowd, but Seth Rollins is like still on the outside of the ring, and he gets away from security. He hops over the barricade, and they start fighting more and more back there. But they're swinging, and we basically head to commercial break while they're beating each other up, and we assume that security got the best of them. This was something, I would say. CM Punk was a little bit off his game. I would think, he's normally a pretty, prolific promoter, but he was kind of bouncing back and forth, not staying on the same thing. It's more of what we saw last week. This is just carrying it over. In terms of a pop or drop, I'll go ahead and pop it because there was really nothing bad here. And we did get actual, interaction between the guys in terms of like they fought. It wasn't just like a promo package versus another promo package. So I'll take it, popping it.
Yeah, I'm going to go on the opposite side then. I'm going to drop it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like you said, Punk was kind of off his game tonight. I found myself looking at it and being like, well, Rollins won this battle on the mic, which is something I can't really say a lot of the time for people that go against Punk. Rollins didn't say a lot, but what he did say was short. It was concise. It was easy to follow. Like you said, Punk went out there and it looked like he wanted to talk about this, but then also this, but then also this, and he tried to tie it all together, and it didn't flow right. Yeah. Something was off. You got the fisticuff stuff, the pull-aparts. Admittedly, for me, I was a really big fan of the pull-aparts, and I'm just kind of thinking about it as you were talking. When they first came back, when Triple H first came back, you're like, oh, cool, we get the pull-aparts on the brawl, and that's awesome. We love to see it. I feel like we get that
every week.
Every week now. Yeah. And so I would like to see a little bit of a variety of some sort.
In terms of that, it's like, it's a wrestling show. Let them wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it used to be like, that was the security happened when it was like, it felt like it was boiling to a point where they were actually going to kill each other. Now they don't even have the time to like, for one to get the advantage. Like, it used to be, you'd let them tussle it out in the ring for a couple episodes and like someone would eventually hit their finishing move and stand tall. And it was like, okay, well, this week he got the upper hand. But now it's just like security just breaks him up every week. It's just like, oh.
Yeah, every week we get a pull apart, and then next week we get a pull apart, and then next week we get a pull apart, and then it's like, oh, now you guys have a match. It's like, let somebody hit a finisher, and then you can have security run out. That's fine.
Let the upper hands happen.
I would like so. It seems to happen too quick, and it's happening too often for me that it's losing some of its lust to me. I'm just like, God, can we get something else? As you said, they were fighting and went to a commercial break, which was the theme for the night as a whole.
Yeah. Good Lord, man. I mean, we'll just scratch on that, get it out of the way right now.
Uh-huh.
Raw has way too many freaking commercials right now. I don't know if it's because of USA Network just wanting to get as much bang for their buck while we're still on TV for the next 3 weeks. But like, I mean, we have a stream, obviously, and people are watching along with us, and everybody is under the same impression here of like, okay, this is almost offensive how many commercials we're getting. So throughout this night, just know we're getting commercial breaks every 5 minutes.
Yeah, and like somebody had pointed out in the chat, and like you just kind of alluded to, it is probably USA being like, hey, you guys are leaving us, so we're going to get every last bit that we can while we can. But also, like, I mean, good God, it makes it tough to watch. Yeah. It makes it tough to follow. It really makes it tough to get into the product when there is good stuff happening.
Yep.
It's just like, good Lord.
We cut to the back, and Finn Balor's pissed. They're in the Judgment Day little area in the backstage, and Finn goes, yeah, I'm mad. Where were you guys last week or on Saturday? When I was on my 2-on-1, we're a team. We're supposed to be a team. And Liv said, what? We believed in you. Liv was like, and she was celebrating, by the way. When Liv was pissed, she was happy that she won. And she goes, you should focus on your tag belts anyway. You guys have a big match tonight. You have everything under control. You're Finn Balor. And he goes, and then Raquel goes, then Liv points to Raquel and says, and she has everything handled tonight in her Intercontinental Tournament match. And Raquel goes, when you listen to Finn, you win. and then Liv says that she has a present for Dom and Raquel, and they walk out. So that's
the worst part of it all is nobody wants to play 2K with Carlito.
Carlito's sitting there just like with another controller, like, somebody play with me.
I thought it was funny. If you look, I could be completely wrong, but I'm going to trust my eyes on this one. He did select Ivar as did he really? As one of the members. So it was Ivar in a singles match versus somebody. He's like, JD, Finn, one of you guys want to play?
We still don't get our first match yet. We get Seth Rollins pissed off in the back. He's walking around pissed off. And Adam Pearce, like, if you guys would just freaking let me talk to you for a second, I'd tell you that I'm going to figure something out. And Seth's like, I want Punk, so give me Punk. And Pearce walks away. But then Drew McIntyre walks up to Seth Rollins, and he basically wants Punk, Drew McIntyre walks up to Seth Rollins, and he basically wants Seth Rollins to join him in his fight against the Bloodline. He basically says that him and Seth are the only ones that understand that Roman Reigns is still Roman Reigns. But the only issue for Seth is that Drew is wanting to do it by taking out members of the family, and Jay and Sammy and Jimmy are friends of Seth Rollins, and Seth basically says, I respect them, they're friends, you are not, get away from me. Yeah. But as I'm watching this, a little bit of me is thinking that we're eventually going to get a new version of S.H.I.E.L.D. with like Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre trying to take out the Bloodline. Yeah, we talked about how WWE in 2024 is like the year of the faction, basically. Everybody was in factions. But this one I would be super excited about. This one is fantastic. They all have different reasons, but they all align. You see Seth, at least in the Punk promo, he's still trying to play to the crowd a little bit. I think eventually the people's love for CM Punk is going to push him over the edge. He's going to turn heel. So then you can just align him with the two best heels in WWE right now and make this like ultra heel, just badass trio. I mean, it just is amazing. It just seems like all their stories are too parallel for them not to end up running into each other. Like they're all doing the same thing. You teamed with Roman. I don't like you, in one way or another, those roads are eventually going to cross. Seth Rollins can have a problem with Drew right now, but down the line, after things boil over some way, one way or another, dude, give us a new Shield going after the Bloodline. Are you serious? Yeah. And they could, I mean, this is a terrible name, but along the lines of this would be like the truth tellers, right? Like, they don't tell lies. Everything they're saying is logic based. Like, yes, they're the heels, but they're right.
like they all are telling truths. They're all just sitting there being like, this is my part. This is how I view this.
Their team name is just We Are Right. We are right.
War. Which one is we?
War.
Which
we
one
are right.
Which one is we? Which one is R? And which one is right? Right's got to be Rollins.
Kevin's.
Right?
No, right has to be Kevin.
Right. Rollins. Right.
Rollins.
Right. Rollins. Yeah.
Righty Rollins.
Rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, I don't know. We're stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're 30 minutes into the night. We get our first match, but it is an intercontinental title match. We get Ludwig taking on Braun Breaker, and Braun would start hot as he always does. He'd run the ropes at 23 miles an hour and give him a good old clothesline, and we get a commercial break. Now we come back, and Ludwig he has the upper hand, and when Braun would go for a shoulder tackle, Ludwig would kind of pop up and give him a kick or something, like a knee. It was kind of a weird looking spot, but it ended up being pitched as Braun injured his shoulder. And
he did slam his shoulder into it also too. Yeah.
And Ludwig attacked.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the story of this entire match. Ludwig attacked that damn shoulder for 15 minutes of the match. He was stomping it, shoulder locks. I mean, drop kicking it, slamming him down on it. Anything that you could freaking dream of, Ludwig was trying to do it to Braun Breaker. Now, Braun is Braun, and they want to make him look good. So he was getting some of his moveset in there. He got the apron jump clothesline over the table that we all knew and loved. He had the one-arm Frankensteiner, top rope Frankensteiner that we all know and love. We got to the point where Kaiser would hit the Kaiser roll and go for a shoulder rock, and Braun would roll out of the ring. And we went out of the ring. You know Ludwig Kaiser. Well, Braun Breaker's out of the ring. That means I get to do my running drop kick. And the camera was so good. It was like on Ludwig, and he's running to do it. And he's running on the side of the ring. And then he gets to the side of the ring where he normally does a drop kick, and Braun Breaker's gone. He's vanished. And Braun comes sprinting behind him, and he doesn't do a spear, but he does a running jumping shoulder tackle, kind of like how I'm thinking of his AEW name. Yeah, Cesaro used to do. I was thinking of his AEW name. I was trying to get the WWE one, but Cesaro used to do. And he kind of like a corkscrew clothesline type deal,
uppercut thing.
Uppercut. Nails him with that. Rolls him into the ring, and of course he does a gut buster and then a super spear. 1, 2, 3. Braun Breaker does retain the title over Ludwig Kaiser. I do like this match. It was a new side of Braun where he's injured and he's having to overcome, which is different from what we normally see with him, which is more just like powerhouse badass. So you at least kind of ground Braun Breaker and bring him back down to reality, but then he still figures this out. That's good stuff. Popping it.
Yeah, I'm going to pop this match as well. Kind of the spot maybe of the night. I mean, there's a couple, but this one, at least for me, the way that they shot it, like you said, was fantastic. Thought it was great. Shout out the crowd for being so bad they didn't give it away that Braun Breaker is running around the ring. I mean, usually you get the crowd yelling and cheering.
Good point. That's actually a great point. This Boston crowd sucked. I'm sorry if you're watching this and you're from Boston, but good Lord, they didn't. They didn't nothing until the end.
They didn't help this match at all.
Yeah.
This match was a lot better than I think that they led on.
Yeah, dude.
So it kind of ruined it for me and soured my taste a little bit. It's nice to see that new side of Braun Breaker. Like you said, it's the right guy getting the win, even though I hate Kaiser getting the loss here. It's also a nice side of Kaiser to see kind of like more of like a tactician specialist, like being able to kind of pinpoint body and go after it. I haven't seen that in a while, at least from him. So I kind of like that.
Here's the thing about this. Braun Breaker's now beaten Ludwig a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
What's next for Braun Breaker? What do we want to see him do in the IC title?
Yeah, it's kind of what's next for both of these guys after this match. I don't know. I mean, obviously he's going to continue to keep challenging people, or people challenging him, and he's going to accept all challenges. But it's like, okay, well, you beat Kaiser and Sheamus. You've beaten almost everybody you can think of in the mid card. So maybe you get some sort of Netflix transfer or something. I don't know. That would be the only thing I could think. You could introduce somebody else into the fold.
I agree.
That's kind of the only thing I can think of because he's already destroyed everybody.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to have to be a good old SmackDown transfer that kind of, breathes life back into this. I would love to see an LA Knight transfer to Raw and then he go after Braun Breaker because I just think LA Knight on the mic versus Braun Breaker on the mic, money. So hopefully that's what's next for Braun Breaker, but dude's incredible, continues to be incredible. 2025 should be a good year for him.
Yeah, and same with Kaiser. I think Kaiser would be important for him to transfer to SmackDown so he can make a name for himself, as Gunther likes to say. I mean, he's kind of stuck because he's lost a feud to Sheamus and he's lost to Braun, and he seems to kind of be that guy that takes the pinfall and every feud he's in the mid card. So if he can transfer over to SmackDown, kind of reestablish himself, get some wins, I think that would be smart.
100%. We're moving on, though. New Day's trying to find a locker. They won't let him in the locker room. Rey Mysterio comes out, and he's like, no, everybody in the locker room basically sided with Big E. You guys went too far, and the New Day is like, oh, well, we don't need you. We'll go find our own place to change. I was like, damn. Yeah, changing the stall, bro.
Yeah, like the old days,
the old days. We get a good old Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes package. They finally showed like the actual footage of Kevin attacking the official WWE stuff. If you want our thoughts on that, we got a good old Saturday Night Main Event review that we put out yesterday, so go ahead and check that out. But there was no really follow-up on this. We just kind of found out that Cody is out indefinitely, I believe. So everything expected from that.
Sounds like a nice couple-week break until the Raw Netflix to make his triumphant return.
Yeah.
The big question for me is, does he come in a neck brace?
Gotta.
I feel like you have to, right?
He has the American Nightmare on it, like his belt.
You know what he should do? Is you don't want to cover up the tattoo, right? So you put a neck brace on, and then you get the tattooed on the neck brace.
Oh
so
my
it's still
God,
there.
Yes.
Sign me up.
Holy shit, I'm down. I'm so down. After this, we would get a nugget. Raw, or the day, January 6th, Raw to Netflix. We are going to get CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. It is official. It is happening. What in the world is going to happen in that match? Who should even win it? Is there going to be a winner?
Yeah, Adam Pearce makes this announcement backstage. I guess it is important to note because somebody pointed it out in our chat, in our watch along. They do it in front of the truck and on the truck there is Charlotte Flair and The Rock. WWE does these things on purpose. Yeah, I mean, he could have went in front of any of them.
Yeah.
Why did he choose that one? That's important to note. As for the CM Punk Rollins stuff, God, I don't know who you give the first one to. I mean, Punk's riding high. Rollins is really kind of struggling to prove that he belongs still. I think you probably, now that I'm thinking about it, I would probably just go Seth.
Yeah.
I feel like he probably needs it because at this point, Punk is riding such a good high right now. And Rollins has really kind of struggled. 2024 was not the greatest year for Seth Rollins. Injuries, and he would put some other people over. And it was the year of him really doing what was best for the business. So you want to establish Seth Rollins as kind of like, hey, that legitimate top guy again.
Yeah.
Not the end of the feud by far, but give him the first one.
Yeah, so far the feud is basically like CM Punk saying that you're my biggest fanboy, and basically I'm too good for you. I beat Drew. Are you as tough as Drew? I don't think so. So I think you kind of humble out CM Punk here. You give him a loss here. You give Seth Rollins, you bring him back all the way up. Like you just said, we haven't really seen him much since WrestleMania, especially at this level against guys like CM Punk. It's going to be a huge match. I'm so glad that they're pulling the trigger on Raw on Netflix. That show is looking to be spectacular. But yeah, I'm 100% with you. Give Seth Rollins the win here and start that feud out pretty well.
Yeah.
And run it through Rumble.
Yeah. Just keep running it.
Yeah.
It's going to print money. It's going to feed families, as people like to say. And you don't have to give Seth a defiant, win. You can do like a WrestleMania 3 roll-up type thing. He goes to the GTS, he slips it, roll up, boom.
Yeah.
Something quick, something simple to where Punk's like, oh, well, you caught me off my game, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be fantastic,
yeah.
though. I tell you that. Does that start, you think? You think that's the starter, like the first match on Netflix?
Oh, man, that's tough. Yeah.
I would say probably
start
so.
it with that, end it with Roman. That's a hell of a night. Fill the in-between. Well, we got more matches coming up, I guess. But speaking of that, Liv has a present for Raquel and Dom. She comes on out. She's got a megaphone now. She's Livy Hart. That's what I'm calling her. But she comes out with it, and Dom tries to introduce Liv as the greatest champion of all time. But of course, Dom's getting booed out the building, even though 1 week ago they were cheering that man. Boston didn't get the memo.
Yeah, whenever they were in Washington, Everett, Washington, they were cheering this man. Now in Boston, they hate this man. You better cheer this man.
Boston, what do they know?
I'm tired of it. They don't know nothing.
They don't know nothing. You can't boo my boy Dom. But Liv grabs the megaphone at this point, and she goes, what Daddy Dom is trying to say is that I'm the greatest champion ever. And I yelled like that because she yelled it like that.
Into the microphone. Fantastic.
She goes, 2024 was the year of Monday Night Morgan. I am the future of the WWE. This is my brutality. Rhea walks out, of course. Rhea comes down the ring, and you can see it. The camera's on Dom, and he looks at Liv, and he goes, I'm so over this. He's looking at Liv, and Liv's just like, yeah, I know, Daddy Dom. Everybody is. So I like how they're playing into it. That's funny. Mm-hmm. But Rhea goes, Liv, you might want to stick around to hear this. And Liv immediately gets the mic and goes, everybody here and me, nobody cares what you're about to say. Cracking up. And Rhea goes, this has gone too far. Let's finally settle this. I already talked to Pierce and made it official. I am the #1 contender for your belt. In the future, your reign ends and you'll be left with your chicken tender slut boyfriend. And that's it. That's the end of the thing. So at the end of this, Rhea Ripley is somehow #1 contender again. I mean, we all saw it coming, but there's really just no logical reason for it. I guess she can just go and ask Adam Pearce for it whenever she wants and she gets it. But we are officially going to get Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. We don't know the exact date, but to me, I'm thinking Liv gets this one.
I could have swore they were talking about Raw on Netflix.
Did they?
I could have swore she said that.
Oh.
Maybe she, I mean, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm like 95% sure that that's what they said. Yeah. So yeah, to your point, Rhea I lost my title match. I want another one. Well, I want another one. Well, I want it again till I win the thing. And it's like, we all know this is going to happen. We all know the story. You know, she never lost that, but she lost the matches for the title. She just skips the line. It grinds my gears, I guess. But, you know, if it is going to be a Raw on Netflix, which, like I said, I think it is, to me, Liv probably gets the win here. I would like to say done and over with. I would honestly like to say I don't care at that point. You just call I don't care who takes the title. Just end the feud. I don't care. But I think we're going to keep running it into Mania.
Yeah.
So maybe if that is the case, maybe Rhea gets the win there and then Liv wants her rematch clause and you just run it.
I'm still under the prediction that Liv will probably win this first one and then lose it at Rumble. And then if you want to run it back at Mania, Liv might get it back there, or Rhea keeps it and that's the end of the feud there. But in terms of the Rhea thing, it just, like, we all know that it's going to be Rhea versus Liv. Like, we accepted it. But, like, can we at least put a little bit of logic into this? Can we, anything, like a match, like literally one match with Rhea on TV against anybody? You could say that it's Iyo. Maybe Iyo goes back and says that she thinks, one of those classic segments where they're arguing in the back with Adam Pearce, and then Rhea shows up and she's like, well, I want it. And then Adam Pearce is just like, okay, winner of you guys gets to fight Liv. And then we at least get it that way. Can we not just do the whole, like, I show up during your promos, therefore I get title shot? That just gets a little bit annoying. And in a world where WWE has become so logical with their stuff, that is a gap. It doesn't feel logical most of the time with how these people get their title shots.
Yeah, that's a good point. And the pushback is going to be, well, Rhea got the pin over Liv at War Games.
But it's War Games.
You can argue War Games, that's a team thing. Yeah, she got the pin. It's not one-on-one. It is just weird. The narrative still that Rhea never lost the title bugs me because, like, well, yeah, that's true. Like, you had to vacate it. But then once you had the chances to get the title, you lost them.
Yep.
So you did lose. You know what I mean?
And then people are going to be like, well, Dom helped but that's wrestling. That's
I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
It still happened.
We'll see. In terms of the segment, popping or dropping it?
I'm popping it.
Me too. I think that the Liv Dom stuff was fun.
Yeah, I think the Liv and Dom stuff was fun. This little segment reminded me of how, at times we were kind of tiresome of some of the stuff, but this right here kind of reminded me how fun Liv and Dom has been through 2024, the half that they've been together, and it's just enjoyable.
I agree. Totally agree. We get a little segment backstage. Miz wants to quit. He wants to quit the Final Testament in AOP. He's like, hey, we beat the Wyatts. I'm done with this. I got what I wanted. Toodaloo. And Karrion Kross shows up and he's like, no. We beat the Wyatts, but we were the ones that were reacting to them, and now we have to take the first strikes from now on. So next week, you're going to fight Dexter Lumis in a one-on-one, and then, what's his name? Old man.
Paul
Ellering is like, I've saved you twice, Miz, so basically, this is your what you owe us. So we get more Miz, and this is what we asked for when it comes to not only the Miz, because we absolutely love the Miz, but we've said for months the way to do the Wyatt Six is to establish everybody as a singles competitor so that we get to know all these characters better and care more about them when they're in the ring together. So Dexter Lumis in a one-on-one match? Hell yeah, sign me up. Against the Miz? Let's go.
Yeah, I'll pop this a little bit here. You had the Miz, first of all, in a nice, like, candy cane tie, pocket square.
Maurice is a lucky woman.
Top stuff. As for the Lumis stuff, like you said, we wanted to get to know the people from the Wyatt Six on an individual basis. We also asked to see them in the ring. You can't just keep going months without stuff. So that's perfect. Loomis and Miz obviously have the historic past. We were actually there when the Miz, remember that when the Miz was in a steel cage? I can't remember who it was first, but then Loomis slides out of the bottom.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's looking up at the Miz, and the Miz is so terrified that he doesn't climb down.
Oh, my God. I forgot about that. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
So we were at that. I mean, there's such a good pass you can,
up.
there's such a good pass you can hang on to and play back to.
Yeah, good point. I forgot about that. We would get our Intercontinental title tournament match. It was Zoe Stark taking on Raquel, taking on Katie Carter in a triple threat. Raquel would start hot because, well, she's much bigger than the other people in the ring. And Stark would return it, though, with some nice little drop kicks and all that good stuff. Carter would do a top rope Hurricane Rana to Raquel, looking real nice. They would all end up on the apron and do this little apron spot where basically Zoe Stark and Raquel ended up super kicking each other at one point or another off the apron. And Kaden Carter would do like a suicide corkscrew dive
through the ropes
and take out both of them. Kaden Carter was the absolute star of this match, in my opinion. She looked absolutely great. There was this nice little spot that I had never seen from her where she had Raquel in a figure 4, and then she did a corkscrew DDT to Zoe Stark while she was in the figure 4, and it ended up, she stayed in it on Raquel after DDT. That's awesome. I mean, that's what these matches are for, giving us good looks at people that we don't get these type of looks for. We get springboard crossboard from Stark to both women on the outside, but then all the good stuff happens. So basically, Raquel would send Stark over the top ropes, and Carter would respond with the missile drop kick, but only get the 1-2 on it. Stark would German suplex Carter off the second rope while she was trying to do a move to Raquel. Raquel would follow do a follow away slam and a splash to Kaden Carter, and would go for the Tijuana bomb, but Stark would missile drop kick her while she's giving the Tijuana bomb and hit the Z360 onto Kaden Carter. 1, 2, 3. Zoe Stark wins. PFC has won a match. They've done it. In the year 2024, PFC has finally won a match. Zoe Stark, congratulations to you. You gotta pop this. She should win it all.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not pop this? I mean, PFC, People's Fighting Champion right there. Zoe Stark. I mean, just fantastic stuff. This match was fun. Zoe Stark was good.
Yeah.
Even though her finish, a little rough.
Yeah.
A little rough. Didn't look too good. Didn't look too clean. She needs to work better on.
Kaden had an A+ match until she took that Z360.
I mean, well, Zoe also never hits that clean. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. She needs a new finisher because she can't do this one. Raquel was once again the low spot of another match.
They were dragging her to the finish line.
I mean, this was not another just not good showing from Raquel. But like you said, the other two were fantastic. PFC gets a win. How can you not be happy? Now she goes on. She fights Dakota Kai. There's some stories there. You know, PFC attacked Dakota Kai.
We'll get to this. So after the match, you see Zoe Stark and PFC have crushed Kairi Sane's hand into a packing box in the back. It looks like, not confirmed, but it looks like Iyo Sky is going to take Kairi Sane's place in this Intercontinental Tournament. And guess what? I do not like this at all. I'm actually going to give it a drop. I don't like this because in the War Games match, they needed a fifth member, and Kairi Sane was sitting right there. She's Iyo Sky's partner. Nope on that one. Iyo Sky gets a title match right after the War Games match. Kairi Sane's completely left out of that scene, and now Kairi Sane finally gets her chance in an Intercontinental Tournament, which is where her level of character should be. Iyo Sky gets thrown back in there as well. What are we doing with Kairi Sane? She's a phenomenal talent. Let her have something. Dropping it. Pissed me off.
I will say, though, shout out to her for the bloody screams that she had.
Oh, my God. Blood curdling.
They were wild. Yeah, I'm going to drop that as well. I'm not going to drop it. Well, I agree with everything you're saying, but I'm going to take the other side of it. Iyo being inserted into this, to me, at least just screams that Io's going to get the win, unless there's some sort of more shenanigans, malarkey, baloney. That's what it was. Unless there's some of that happens, I think Iyo gets the win here, and then she goes on to face Lyra. Match is going to be fantastic. Don't get me wrong, going to be great, but Io's probably winning that as well. So now you have either Dakota Kai or Zoe Stark versus her. There's storylines there. Yeah, that's awesome, but to me, none of this needed to happen.
Yeah.
You could have, again, you could have attacked Iyo. Like, Iyo just had a title match. She doesn't have anything to do. You could attack her and have her go off for a couple weeks.
If you're going to attack anybody, you attack the person who has nothing to do at all in the tournament. If you want to do this at all, which it was stupid to do in the first place. Or just
do Dakota Kai again.
Yeah.
Double down on it.
And again, it's not against Iyo Sky. Love her. She's terrific. She's going to have a phenomenal match. But Kairi Sane is also phenomenal and terrific and deserves to have some matches. Let's not forget about Kairi Sane, man.
She has been forgotten about.
Yeah, she has.
All I'll say is in 2024, where we're at right now, Raquel Rodriguez has had I don't know how many matches, and she looks terrible. And somebody like Kairi Sane is not getting any time. And it's like, you could have I understand storyline Raquel Rodriguez bodyguard. I get that. But she sucks. So just put Kairi Sane in there. You would have imagine Kairi Sane in there tonight.
Malarkey. Baloney. Shenanigans, whatever you say. I don't know. Whatever his new catchphrase is. I don't know. But anyway, we moving on. Alpha Academy's in the back, and R-Truth loves the commercials that they put on. Says he got a whole new get-up because of it. And then he says that he's looking for Butch or something about Butch, and Butch shows up, and he hates the word Butch because Butch is Butch, and Butch, please. And they go on.
Son of a Butch.
But they go off because I guess Butch is just that is his story for now on. but freaking Chad Gable and American Made show up and they start trash talking Alpha Academy. This is fine, but why didn't we do this 5 months ago when Chad Gable and Otis were like the hottest storyline on Raw and we could have catapulted these guys to another stratosphere? Why are we just now digging this up in December out of nowhere?
That's a good question. I wish I had an answer. Are you popping or dropping this?
I'm dropping it because I hate the idea. I hate the idea that they are just like shoveling up an old storyline because it feels like they need to because they're trying to just survive until Netflix, which is fine. But don't uncover a story that we all wanted to see have a payoff 6 months afterward. That just feels cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to drop this as well. So I'm going to start at the beginning of it. You have the Truth and Alpha Babes, or Alpha Academy, however they want to be called, whatever. That's fine. They've kind of been resorted to comedy roles, which sucks, admittedly. I don't like that. I would like to see them in the ring again. You have Butch, Pete Dunne. This is a terrible thing for him.
Was I not clear on what they did with Butch? I thought I was perfectly clear what they did with Butch today.
Just god awful,
dude. We just went on a rampage about Kairi Sane. Pete Dunne is one of the best in-ring talents WWE has, and they are having this guy walk around, be mad about the name Butch, and just feuding with R-Truth in the back. I mean that feels just like highway robbery. It's god awful. So for me, I'm already down at this point. Yeah. And then you get Chad Gable in there, like you said. He appeared on SmackDown. He fought Cody Rhodes, but now he's back because he wants to teach people a lesson or something. So he's going to start with Tozawa is what he says. And it's just like, Otis stands up to him. This was months ago. Am I going to tune in? Am I going to get some happiness out of it? Sure, I guess, but it's not going to be what it was. This deserves a months and months build up. This deserves like at the time of the storyline, you could argue it was the best storyline there was. And it needed like a big four SummerSlam something, right? That's how good this was. And it just, I don't even know if that timing's right with SummerSlam, but this just feels, like you said, cheap. And it's just like, why should I care? Like realistically, yeah.
Why should I care? Because, well, first of all, Chad Gable takes losses in everything he does. Second of all, you said you were going to go to SmackDown or you wanted to or whatever the hell. And now you're back. And
here's the thing. Both of these teams don't need any more losses. Like they're both in the stages. Like American Made is still in the stage of like, if you really want us to care about them, they just need to be eating wins. And then Alpha Academy's at the stage where it feels like they have 1 foot in the freaking grave. So if you want to keep us interested in them at all, they need a win. And you don't have the story that you did, or you don't have the heat in the story that you did back when you did it in July or whenever the hell it was. Yep. So why are you dusting this off just for a cheap wannabe pop at the moment? Like I love these two, but this just doesn't feel good.
You want to know one last thing I'll say before we move on?
Yeah.
Why I think they're doing it? One word, maybe two. I don't know how they put it. Chair phone.
The commercial. They need a reason to keep that cricket commercial going.
From years ago.
Yeah.
Chair phone.
Anyway, tag team championships finally are being defended. Raw. It is Judgment Day. Finn Balor, JD McDonough taking on the War Raiders. They had a promo package earlier in the night, basically saying that they're doing it for one of their kids, and they want their kids to see how great they are and a bunch of stuff. But we go on. Raiders would start hot. They are phenomenal. I want to get that out of the way right away. Raiders have won me over. Like, their characters obviously need work, but they're in ring. These guys are great. I love them so much.
It's kind of what we tend to say about them all the time.
Yeah, but now they'll have time now. We'll get to
hopefully,
it.
Hopefully.
Ivar would start for them, and he would just start beating the hell out of Finn and JD. He would end up power slamming Finn on top of it, JD. Finn rolls out, and then, of course, Eric would tag in. Then Eric would pick up Ivar and power slam him on top of JD. So JD just ate a lot of man meat in that first little bit. But J-Day, after the commercial, would start to get hot, and they would do their really cool thing that I love. I think it's the best part of them. But they do this thing once a match where they do quick tags to each other, and they'll take cheap shots in the corner of the guy, and then they'll start getting the 5 count from the ref, and they'll back up and distract the ref, and then the other guy on the outside will start beating them up. That's some cool heel tag team work that I absolutely love that they do perfectly. But Ivar would eventually he would do like a somersault off the rope, back elbows to both of them. He'd tag in Eric. Eric would get a hot tag. He would start destroying both of them. But eventually all hell breaks loose, and Finn and JD are on the outside with Eric, and they end up throwing Eric into the steel steps like twice. Really hard.
Which used to be a DQ.
Yeah, in some matches that was DQ, but I don't know. But they're dominating Eric. They would roll Eric in the ring, and JD would go to the second rope and like do this like cock up elbow,
tuck his head, and I don't know what the hell that was.
Yeah, it was a weird looking move, but it looked.
It hit him, but it also looked like it didn't hit him.
Yeah, it was weird.
You know what I mean?
They would hot tag Ivar, and Ivar would just be insanely athletic per usual. But then all the fun stuff would start happening. He would hit a top rope slam on JD, get the 1-2 there. We then get a tag finisher on JD, but the pin was broken up by Finn Balor. They would go for another tag team finishing move, that little thing where they basically throw them around to each other because they're just insanely strong on JD. But Finn would end up pulling Ivar out of the ring when they were trying to do their finisher. And Finn would then get hot here. He'd do a sling blade to Eric, and he would kick him into the corner. He'd tag JD in. JD would hit the moonsault. JD would tag Finn in. Finn would hit a coup de grace onto Eric, 1-2, but Ivar was there to break it up, and we're like, oh, stuff is getting good here. JD would grab a chair. JD would go on the outside and grab a chair, so they were like, champion's advantage, screw it, we'll just get disqualified, keep our belts. Kind of a heads up move for the heels.
Yeah, he's on the other side of the ring.
He's on the other side of the ring, but what he does is he just gets the chair out of the ring and kind of like shows it off to the ref, right? So the ref will come over and start talking to him outside of the ring. So the ref's bent over on the outside of the ring, yelling at Finn yelling at JD to put the chair away. Finn Balor goes to the timekeeper's area, and he goes to grab a chair because JD is obviously covering for him. So Finn goes to grab that chair to use it, and he can't pull it. Damian Priest is there. Damian Priest pulls the chair back, hits Finn Balor, ends up throwing Finn into the ring, and they hit the War Machine, or War Raiders hit the War Machine. 1, 2, 3. Damian Priest ends up costing them. War Raiders win the tag team championships. This was fun as can be. I absolutely loved it. Pop.
Yeah, I'm going to pop this as well. Was a little nervous at some points throughout this match. It does everything you need to do. War Raiders get a title on them. Fantastic. Awesome. It means that tournament meant something now at this point. JD now. You have Finn being costed by Priest, which is fantastic. Well, everybody listens to Finn. Well, if Finn costs them here, continues that. Just all around, just really good stuff. A really good ending to a not great Raw, in my opinion. It was really a high note here.
Yeah, I mean, 2 great things. War Raiders have absolutely deserved this. They're a phenomenal tag team. Great champions to be. And then Damian Priest and Finn Balor can finally get get after each other in an established rivalry where there's no belts involved, just a long-term hatred that has boiled over to the point where we can get a rivalry that ends at probably either Saturday Night Main Event or Royal Rumble or something in between. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the interaction that Damian's going to have with Dom, and Judgment Day now can look at Finn Balor and be like, okay, well, we're all doing pretty good except for you. So there's that going on. This is just a great decision by WWE overall. And we now have tag team champions that are just away from this storyline, and hopefully they can defend them every once in a while.
Yeah, the hope would be, I mean, golly. They can't do any worse, right? This is the Logan Paul type tag team was what this was. Fantastic stuff here. I was a little nervous running short on time. Again, Monday night commercials made it really tough to kind of get fully into this stuff, but it was good all around. That was fantastic.
Anyway, that was our review for Raw this week. We had 11 pops to 5 drops.
I want to use another veto.
No, you can't do back-to-back weeks.
No, well, you don't know how to count. I should be counting the pops and drops.
I write them down.
He doesn't know how to count. Everybody in the live stream knows this episode was not 11 to 5. There was also do you want to talk about that little logo thing?
Oh, yeah, there was a logo that popped up. That's probably been, it was like a circle with a dash through it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what it was. Penta, maybe?
Yeah,
maybe
people are saying Penta online. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
it popped up for a second, so that also happened.
So maybe that's a Netflix thingy.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, though, this will be our last popper drop until after Raw on Netflix January 6th, because I am going to Germany for Christmas for the holidays. My wife's family is there, so we're going to go spend time with them. She hasn't seen them in a few years in terms of the holidays, so she deserves it. She's put up with our podcasting, so she deserves this. So yes. I just want to personally say happy holidays to everybody. Thank you guys so much for supporting us throughout this point of the year. We're looking forward to continue this, but we have regular scheduled content coming to you guys, so don't you worry. We got podcast galore. We got year-end awards. We got looking forward to 2025, reviewing 2024, a lot of good stuff. So just be on the lookout. While we may not be having reviews and stuff, we're going to have regular scheduled content for you guys to enjoy that we think is really, really good. So just heads up on that one.
Yeah. We put a lot of effort into this stuff. So hopefully you guys enjoy it as much as we did. Like Will said, happy holidays to you guys. Hopefully everybody is safe and it is a great holiday for you guys. Happy holidays to you guys as well, and to your wife for allowing us to do the podcast as often as we do. Yeah. This would not be possible without her.
No, it would not.
As much as people think it maybe just be us, but she's the real star of the show here. Thank you as well for putting all the effort in. And we'll just roll into 2025, Raw into Netflix, and this is going to be good stuff. This is where it's really going to pick up here.
It is. It's really going to pick up. We're going to be streaming on YouTube, I think is what we're going to be doing. But follow us on all of our socials at codwrestlepod, COD WrestlePod. Listen to us wherever you get your podcast at, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, etc. Like I just said, come follow our streams. We do have a Twitch. It's in our link tree in our bio. All of our links are there. All of our social medias are there. Go follow all that. Comment on our stuff. Come talk to us in our Discord. We absolutely love chatting with you guys and hearing your opinions on our stuff. But till next time, I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction podcast, and we will see you next time.